Update. Girlfriend, female 31, is trying to convince me, male 30, into a relationship with her friend, female 29, which caused a blow-up this weekend. Original post. My girlfriend is bi and primarily dated women before we met. We're getting serious and talking about getting married. We've dated for over 2 years. But recently, she's been making a lot of polygamous jokes, and I'm not really into it. She has this friend that I get the feeling is just waiting for a hiccup in our relationship to make a move. She's bi too, and openly makes jokes about being sexual with my girlfriend. I've shared that I don't like it before, but my girlfriend jokes that I'm gay for not being into it. Maybe I could be into an experience, but honestly, this person just makes me uncomfortable too often. Besides that, she's just not my type sexually. We had a long conversation around COVID when she wanted to be referred to as he/him, so I did. 2 years later, he wanted to be referred to as they/them, so I did. Recently, she circled back to she/her, which is fine. But the whole time, she dresses like a Kyle. For those of you unfamiliar, a Kyle is the kind of guy that wears Fox apparel and washes down vape with a Monster energy drink. She would be attractive, but it's like her idea of masculinity was formed from high school douchebags, not 30-year-old men. Anyway, Saturday we got into a fight because we had some friends over. Kyle was the last one to leave. We'd all been drinking. I was in the kitchen putting away some food, and I saw this a-hole put her hand on my girlfriend's behind. I let her know right away. That's the line. You crossed it. Stop. My girlfriend gave her classic, "That's just how girls joke." And they did this silly little dance twirl thing that ended with my girlfriend on Kyle's lap. I'd had enough and stepped into the room. My girlfriend doubled down and said that most guys would be dying to fool around with 2 women. I was blunt and said that I was uninterested in sharing her with anyone. Kyle then said something like, "Maybe I could strap one on. Maybe you'd prefer a man." I was drunk. This a-hole had her hand on my girlfriend's waist, and my girlfriend was sitting on her lap. I lost it. I don't remember exactly what I said. Something like, if you were a man, you would have been kicked out or knocked out already. This struck some kind of chord with her. She postured up like a gorilla, and it became a 3-way shouting match. I don't know what was said exactly, but it ended with Kyle loudly proclaiming that she had to leave before someone got hurt. Here's the problem. My girlfriend somehow thinks I need to apologize. Me. For threatening a person who came into my home, grabbed my girlfriend's butt, sat her on her lap, and insinuated that I'd like to take it from behind by a man. She says I needlessly introduced violence and forced Kyle to drive home intoxicated. I honestly can't fathom an apology, and I honestly don't care to have Kyle in our life anymore. I'm not typically the one to die on a hill, but I feel like anything short of digging my heels in is unacceptable. I told her I'd think about it. She's staying at a cousin's house for a few days. If it was just one night, I'd get it, but it's been several. Saturday was just the tipping point. But honestly, she acts like this is something she can get out of her system. I think she wants to be poly, and I think a lot of her friends are doing the poly thing. It's just not for me. I want one partnership with one person. All of her poly friends are in relationships, but they come and go. There's nothing concrete there. She claims to want kids. She claims to want commitment, but her actions say otherwise. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. I've shared that I don't like it before, but she jokes that I'm gay for not being into it. This is shaming tactics. If you know you're not into something and you've already told the people around you, yet they still try to get into it, you need to remove them from your life, because now they're being disrespectful to your boundaries. That's what I'm saying. But they've been friends longer than I've been together with her. She writes it off as, "That's just a long-running joke." But remember, your woman is eyeballing the thirsty MF right back. And I 100% bet they both already did it. May very well still be doing it behind your back. Kick her the heck out and move on with your life. She placed Kyle ahead of you in this relationship. She's placed her feelings ahead of yours. She's being abusive towards you by attempting to shame you and letting Kyle insult you. Also, Kyle doesn't want to become the third person in this throuple. She wants to replace you. Why would you want to spend another minute with someone who so clearly doesn't respect you, your relationship, or your boundaries? What blows is that, in almost every other way we click. Similar interest, similar political beliefs, similar morals. We're both career-driven and stable. Our sex life is also very good. We both pay attention to each other's needs. But her poly friends have her believing she can be a stay-at-home mom and sleep around when she feels like it. Now for an update a day later. I'm just going to go off the bullet points of the conversation because I'm over it. She arrived yesterday with a peace offering from our favorite ice cream shop and wanted to set things aside so we could settle down and catch up on the new episode of House of the Dragons. I told her that I was uncomfortable just eating ice cream and watching TV with the elephant in the room. I think she could sense that I was in a different mood than she expected. The talking points were as follows. 1. I mentioned that I felt no need to apologize and referenced that Kyle had never apologized for disrespecting me in my home on other occasions. I said that the average person would display hostility toward someone who acted the way Kyle did. Her response was that she felt it was a first-time offense and that she had no idea I felt so strongly about the jokes in the past. I cut her off and told her that she wasn't listening to me if that's how she felt. She stated that I introduced violence, and that's what I should be apologizing for. I stood my ground and said that any person who touches another person's spouse sexually in front of them without their consent should understand that they're going to provoke a reaction. Given that I actually have boxing experience, I showed restraint. 2. She made this weird point that, because I have boxing experience, I should somehow be more careful about provoking violent situations because I know that a fight between Kyle and me would be a mismatch, which I easily countered by pointing out that I didn't provoke the situation. Kyle did, and my girlfriend not seeing that is a problem. 3. She mentioned that it was reckless for me to kick out an intoxicated guest. I easily retorted with, Uber freaking exists, and there's no reason to drunk drive in 2024. If she dies in a DUI, it's because she was too cheap or too stupid to pay the $15 for a ride. I looked it up yesterday. Her stupidity is not my responsibility. 4. I asked her if she'd slept with Kyle in the past. She said no. Maybe I'm biased and not to be trusted, but I believe her. 5. I told her that it makes me super uncomfortable, that she keeps pressuring me into sleeping with someone I'm not attracted to. This is compounded by the fact that I've had to jump through hoops to make sure Kyle was comfortable with her sexuality over the years. This is the curveball I didn't expect. She claimed that Kyle actually likes me for that reason, that Kyle shows her affection like a schoolyard idiot, that Kyle feels comfortable with both of us, and my girlfriend feels comfortable with Kyle. So their intention was to gauge my comfort level and proceed. Obviously, I brought up that I wasn't sexually attracted to Kyle in any way, and that she had helped her case by treating me the way she did that night, or the nights prior. My girlfriend reiterated that she was unaware my feelings were as strong as they are, because I didn't display enough emphasis or something. Essentially, she thought I shrugged it off in good humor. I stated that I'd like to start talking about what a breakup looks like. She was obviously so far removed from the idea that we were talking about a breakup. Immediate waterworks, immediately incoherent and apologetic. I brought up that I'm unsure if she actually believes in our shared goals of marriage, parenthood, and monogamy. She was in hysterics, but essentially couldn't believe that I would come to that conclusion based off one night. I reminded her that it was a pattern of behavior, not just one night. She then backpedaled and said that her polygamous behavior was a part of her life she wanted to share with me before we were married, and she believed she was presenting it in a way that would be appealing to me. I think she thinks I have porn brain, but I reminded her that I'd already shown a lack of interest before, and that, in my opinion, this wasn't the first time she'd pitched fooling around with Kyle. She circled back to insisting the other times were just jokes. I told her that if she believes that, she either wasn't listening to me or wasn't taking me seriously. I brought up that it wasn't okay that they called me gay because I didn't want to engage with their ideas. I pointed out the hypocritical nature of her friend group being so inclusive, but making fun of my sexuality when I didn't want to participate in their games. She was hyper-apologetic and said she didn't understand it was a problem until I framed it as, had the shoe been on the other foot, it would never be acceptable. Run. She is the kind that only regrets her actions when the consequences hit her in the face. She is the type of girl that is gaslighting OP. And since he doesn't want a poly relationship, she will start cheating on him if she hasn't already. She seems like the type of girl that doesn't see sleeping with other girls while in a relationship as cheating, just because the sex was with another woman and not a guy. OP should get tested for STDs as soon as possible and not waste more years of his life with someone that doesn't respect his boundaries. Ah, the old, but it's a girl. It doesn't count routine that so many bisexual women have been trying to peddle for decades. It was BS then, and it's BS now. Cheating is what it is, regardless of gender. I had to go back and check the ages. She's 31, and everything she said is more something I'd expect a teenager to say. Lack of emotional intelligence, lack of empathy, lack of healthy communication, lack of insight. There's a lot. Add to that the very obvious misalignment in your vision for the future of your relationship, and I'd say, do you even want to stay? I get it, you love her, but after a breakup, you will eventually heal and those feelings will fade. I'm no expert, but if a friend of mine had all this going on, and they asked me if they should stay, I would have to do my best to not immediately go, heck no, this is such a bad idea, start to finish. You're 30. That's a good age to cut your losses, not fall for the sunken cost fallacy. Learn from this and move on to other possibilities. I'd be disappointed with a teenager who acted that way, to be honest. Second update 2 weeks later. I broke up with my girlfriend, and now she won't move out until the school year starts. Do any of you have experience evicting an ex? It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I did it. I broke up with my girlfriend after she tried to throuple me with her friend. Initially, she was happy to move into her cousin's house, but there's been some drama because the story she tells her friends and family leaves out key components. Some of them reached out angrily to me, and when I set them straight, they gave my ex an earful. Now she's mad at me for disclosing sensitive information. I'm guessing her cousin isn't allowing her back because she doesn't agree with her decisions. I don't know for sure because we're not in contact. I only know what my ex says, and she's unreliable. She's been hot and cold, either giving me the cold shoulder or bringing up reconciling and coming on to me. I've made a point to resist her advances. She's been trying to guilt me. A few months ago, she made the decision to go after her master's degree. She was supposed to be starting very soon, but now that I've compromised her living situation, she's upset that rent everywhere else is double what she contributes here. I tell her that's no longer my problem. I guess she has a subscription service that delivers here. She produced that last night when I told her I needed her completely out by the 15th. Now she's saying she has a right to be here. Does anyone have experience evicting an ex? Look up unlawful detainer. Go to your local county clerk's website and look for eviction forms. Google evicting a former roommate who is not on the lease and see what options there are in your state. My ex-boyfriend and I broke up after being together for 5 years. He was living with me in my home that I own. He refused to leave, claiming it would take him 3 to 6 months to find a place because he traveled for work. I ended up having to file for unlawful detainer through the local courts to have him evicted. I did it all on my own, with multiple trips to the county clerk of court's office, and had to pay to file and to have him served, but that was it. We got a court date, and I met with a judge. It was me, my ex, his attorney, and the judge around a small table in a conference room with a bailiff there. I presented my case, that we broke up in January. It was now April, and I just wanted him to move out of my home. I had to prove that he wasn't on the deed or mortgage, and that was a done deal. The judge gave him 7 days to vacate with all his stuff, with the promise that I could contact the sheriff to have him removed if he didn't leave before the 7 days were up. Miraculously, he was gone within 3 days. Last story. I, 31 male, told my girlfriend, 29 female, she has a year to start taking better care of herself, or I think it's best we separate. Title says most of it. My girlfriend has been struggling pretty heavily for the past year and a half. We've been together several years. I've always been self-sufficient, lived on my own, worked a stable and fulfilling healthcare job I love, handled bills, meal prep, cleaning, etc. I do have my issues. I beat a daily hard drug habit about a year ago and have been pretty successful staying sober. I drink maybe a 6-pack every 2 weeks and smoke maybe an eighth of weed a month. Occasional psychedelic use. We moved in together a little under a year ago. It's her first time living outside her mom and stepdad's. She's messy, lethargic, and can't seem to hold down a job. She's been laid off multiple times over the past few years. Anytime her parents or I talk to her about getting into a stable career field, she completely rejects us. I do the majority of the chores, all trash, all dishes, general tidying. She pretty much only cleans the floors. I am the only one who initiates conversations about finances and her well-being. Things somewhat came to a head last night. I came home from seeing family to find her in a foul mood. She's always overstimulated and spends the majority of her free time scrolling TikTok. I tried talking with her and being playful. She told me I was overstimulating her. Eventually, I ended up texting her saying she has a year to address some health issues she's having. I believe she's having thyroid issues, which may be why she is so low energy. She also has depression and likely ADHD. The latter has not been diagnosed by a psychologist. I told her she needs to figure out a stable career and start therapy, or I don't think we can continue. Her response was, "Okay then, just leave me if you're that unhappy." I'm frustrated because I'm trying to get her on her feet, but she seems to have zero energy or interest in it. This is starting to feel more like a caretaker role on my part than a partnership. It sucks because she checks all the boxes of my higher needs in terms of personality. However, she's struggling to pay bills, clean, and take care of herself. Is it even worth putting the year in? We're about to re-sign our lease. I'd like to give her time, but her attitude indicates she may not have any desire to change. The thing is, it's not even for me. It's because I want her to be healthy and functional. Thank you in advance. Sorry, but she told you she's not going to use this year the way you told her to. Believe her. And even if she made an effort, it's never going to be sustainable. You will be further down the road, further invested, maybe even married or children, and she's going to continue to be a slob. Move on to a motivated person who shares your goals. She just sounds like baggage at this moment. She can't change for you. She either won't, or she'll resent you for forcing her. Then you become the punching bag for anything that goes wrong. She has to change for yourself. Why don't you split for a bit and see if you can pick things up when she has changed? I'm so sad seeing you struggle so hard with work, energy, and emotions. It hurts me to see you this way and watch you make no effort to change. I love you too much to continue with this. I would like to separate for a while. If you decide to make the changes I know you can, then I would love the chance to see you again. If not, I can't continue hurting myself like this. It makes it about you and your boundaries. Lets her know that the ball is in her court and keeps the future open for possibilities without tying you down to her lodestone around your neck while you continue to do everything for her and she sits like an unappreciative lump. That's all well said. I think this may be the best route, honestly. Good luck. It won't be easy. Be prepared for the immediate I can change response and decide how you plan to handle it. Firm boundaries and I can't wait to see it and meet the new you. Or the supportive, okay then let's re-sign the lease and give you that time to do so. Just make sure you think that through carefully beforehand and make the decision with both your head and your heart.